As a gardener, a passionate gardener, there are very few things in the garden that I absolutely despise doing. One of them is weeding, and not just any weeding, weeding at the end of spring when things are absolutely out of control. You know what I mean. And the other is lugging my long 100-foot hose filled with water all around my backyard, trying to get the spots that I've not got irrigation set up for. It is such a pain. It gets kinked up behind things and folded. It's just so heavy to drag around, and it gets knotted up. And then when I'm done with it, I can't even put it away properly. So I end up just leaving it on the ground wherever, and it's an eyesore and a trip hazard. And so when Vego Garden reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to try their new retractable hose, I thought it was a sign of better times to come. Or is it? Well, that's what this video is all about. We're going to do a quick unboxing of the Vego retractable hose. It's a new product of theirs. And then we're going to get it set up. And then we're going to take it for a test round around the garden. So come with me and let's take a look at what we got. Okay, so here's the box. Quite a heavy box. That's a 130-foot industrial strength hose in there as well as its case. So not lightweight for sure. A little manual. All right, we'll take a look at that in a bit. This is a 9-pattern hose, so it comes with that. It's also got a quick connect, quick on, quick off, because there's a couple of different hose heads that you can attach to this thing. Here it is. Ooh. There we go. Such a pretty color. This is called sea green. There's also something called cloud white and some kind of blue, but I really like this one. That's what it looks like. What else do we have? We'll get to these in a minute. I know that there's also a cleaning nozzle that you can use for cleaning pathways, which I'm actually very keen to try because I really do not like lugging out my pressure washer unless I absolutely have to, which means that I don't use it as much as I need to. This is what you use to connect it to whatever you're connecting it to. I'm going to be connecting it to a post that we've already got installed in my backyard. Okay, so I did this off camera, but the hardware is really, really easy to figure out. There's a booklet that tells you exactly what to connect to what. So you end up with this 9-pattern hose with the quick connect end and then this cleaning nozzle as well. So this is the hose and this is the quick connect end, and all you do, that's it, as simple as that. You want to take it out, you pull this down, you take it out, and you want to replace it with this head. That's it. That was pretty simple. Not too many parts to assemble. And it wasn't incredibly heavy either to lift and put in this. I was able to do it by myself. So let's go now and set it up in my backyard. I can't wait to try it. So I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you folks. This is what the situation really is. I haven't cleaned things up. Obviously, this hose is just always just lying around. It is such a trip hazard and it's so difficult to drag around. Oh, and this sad little thing sitting over here, I actually tried to use it to wrap the hose around. Just didn't work out for me. It was just so hard to use this thing and then have to crank it up and then pull it out. It was just so not worth the effort to try and make things look neat, and that's why my hose ends up looking like this. Sorry. So we're really fortunate to have a full-size basketball court in our backyard. So that's like 94 feet by 50 feet. I think I looked up the dimensions, and I've got to drag the hose all the way across this. So I need at least 100 feet because it needs to go all the way to this end. I'm walking backwards. I hope I don't trip and fall. And I've got all of these plants that are not yet set up under irrigation. So all of these need to be watered. I do this every few days, and once summer kicks in, I'm going to have to do it a lot more often. But wait, that's not just it. So behind me there is the sport court that I just showed you. But if I turn around this way, This is a new area that I've started setting up and putting plants. I've got a bunch of new fruit trees on this side, and I've got that flower corridor, and there is no access to water in these places. So I've got to be able to drag the hose from there to over here. I've got compost bins in front of me. So that hose goes all kinds of places, and it is so difficult to be able to drag that heavy 100-foot hose everywhere in my garden. And that's why I'm really looking forward to the swivel capability of this new retractable hose, because I'll be able to swivel it that way, pull the hose and water those plants, and then swivel it back this way and then water this flower corridor. So let's see how it works out. Okay, we've got it all set up and installed, and we are ready to test it out. It was really easy to install it. There's just 4 screws that you need to attach either to a post like this or to your house. And know that depending on the surface that you attach it to, the swivel can be affected. This thing can actually rotate 360 degrees. If you put it on a post about that height and stick it on the top of the post, it can go all the way around. And Vego Garden actually sells a post that you can buy, that you can install, that will make it rotate 360 degrees. Mine just rotates 180 degrees, and I guess that's enough. I'm not greedy. I just need to water that side of the house and then this side. So I think the swivel that I've got it set up for should be just fine. So let's test out a few things. Number one, I'm going to extend this hose as long and as far as I can and see what I can reach with it. And I'm also going to test the kinkability of it. It's supposed to be kink resistant, industrial strength. I believe this is a 1/2-inch tube that I've got. So let's see how well it does compared to that mess over there. It's got to be better. And finally, let's test the quick on, quick off connect. I want to be able to swap it out pretty easily for my watering wand that I have, as well as for that cleaning nozzle that came with the set. I want to see whether I'm able to get that and save myself the need to use my pressure washers. Okay, test number one is I'm going to extract this as far out as I can and see what that experience is like. I like to pull it all the way out, especially when I'm going a far distance, because otherwise, if I'm doing it in bits and pieces, that retraction thing constantly kicks in and it's trying to pull you back, and it's a battle that I don't feel I can win. So I'm going to pull it as far as it can go, and then I'm going to see what experiences I have, whether it kinks while I'm trying to move it around and water or anything else. Here goes. I'm back and there's still more that I can yank out. So let's do that. This is a really long hose, longer than any I have ever owned before. 130 feet, guys. That's no joke. Okay, it's completely out. Okay, now let's pull this thing around and do some watering and see whether it kinks up. Look, Mom, no kinks. Now here's something I was never able to do with my other 100-foot hose, is actually open the front door and irrigate plants in my front garden. I can literally go everywhere. This is amazing. I've never been able to plant up this front garden, mainly because I felt that I needed to install irrigation first and I didn't have a water source, but now I do. And now I have options. There really is so much you can do when you have 130 feet of hose that does not kink on you. Now let's test the retraction of the hose. I'm going to show it to you in action in just a little bit, but there are a couple of things that I have learned kind of the hard way while using this hose that I think it's really important for you to know, and it's mostly from a safety perspective. Number one, this retraction mechanism is extremely powerful. So when the hose is retracting, if you are not paying attention to it, it could go very, very quickly and it could yank you and pull you over if you're lightweight and not very strong. The second tip that I'd like to offer is when you are going to retract the hose, do bring this hose head back to the source and don't let it drag along the ground. I've got a concrete pathway that the first time I did it, I let it drag, and I was just so upset that I kind of messed up my nice, beautiful new hose. So Keep it close by, don't let it drag, and be careful about the speed of retraction. It's really powerful, but it's also really cool. Let me show you how it works. Oh, one more thing. Wear a pair of gloves when you're doing the retraction because it will graze your hands if you're holding on to it with the speed of it. So wear a pair of gloves on both hands and hold the hose quite steadily while it retracts. Okay, I got a good pair of old gloves, so let's show it to you in action. The way that you trigger the retraction is you give a gentle tug and make sure that it's quite horizontal, and then gently let go. And you see how it's going back and forth and wheeling it steadily and consistently on the base. So you see how fast that went? Hold on to it. You should be in control, not the retractor. Oops. Okay. And don't be stepping on the hose while you're doing this because it will knock you off your feet. But here we go. Perfectly retracted and looking fantastic. And last but by no means least, let's test out our cleaning nozzle. Now I've got this really dirty table, so let's see how it does on it. Woohoo! Just look how strong that is. Let's go wash my camper. So folks, I am absolutely loving my new Vego Garden retractable hose, and I just know it's going to be life-changing. So thank you so much, Vego Garden.